here is the news. For North America, the CBC ran a story last week of allegations that students in the Canadian territory of Nunavut have been told not to speak their native tongue of Inuktitut.
In a passionate speech to Nunavut's Legislative Assembly, David O'Neill warned that at least one Cape Dorset teacher has introduced a policy that would suspend students should they be caught 3 times speaking Inuktitut in the classroom. O'Neill, the MLA for South Baffin, described the rationale behind this 3-strike policy as follows. Students speaking a language unknown to their teacher might be verbally abusing other students.
But the Cape Dorset District Education Authority, or DEA, insists that David O'Neill is wrong. On Tuesday this week, it denied the existence of any such policy, stating, "We were equally shocked with the implication by MLA O'Neill that the DEA, our school or even a teacher has a policy to stop students from speaking Inuktitut or to discipline students for doing so. Had this alleged incident gone through proper protocols, we could have taken immediate action to thoroughly investigate this and provide the necessary direction for remediation without delay."
Well, Cadence, there may not be an official policy at play here, but if one teacher is doing this, then there is a de facto policy. I also find the DA's statement that had this alleged incident gone through proper protocols, we would have taken immediate action bewildering. This is because I can think of no protocol more proper to a democracy than that of an elected representative shedding light on alleged abuses in society, which the repressing of language under the pretext of keeping students safe clearly is. And I would add MLA Joanna C. is not the only source of this story. Another member of the Legislative Assembly, Paul Okalik, said that he has heard of similar policies enacted in the city of Iqaluit, the capital city of the territory of Nunavut, formerly known as Frobisher Bay, a thriving community I have had the pleasure visiting many times when I was a navigator on the CC-130 Hercules. Said Okalik, "We are in 2016. All teachers should be told that the language of Inuktitut should be promoted, not stopped." Now, whether the policy to repress the native language exists in Cape Dorset in an official or unofficial capacity, or not at all, or in Iqaluit for that matter, it does bear an uncanny resemblance to the safe space policy of Canada's universities, whereby ideas and vocabulary are repressed in the pretext of making students feel safe. Now today, Nunavut's education minister, Paul Quassa, told the CBC, and I quote, "The fact-finding mission was done and there was no such case where the student was told not to speak Inuktitut." It would be interesting to know the content of that fact-finding mission and whether it went beyond listening to the DEA's denial and its shock upon hearing Joannesi's allegation.
And on Tuesday this week, in America, Attorney General Loretta Lynch stated she still has confidence in FBI Director James Comey. Mr. Roberts, given that FBI agents seized Anthony Weiner's laptop Sunday night, what do you make of the FBI, at this late hour, deciding to search a hard drive, once shared by both Weiner and his wife, long-standing Clinton aide Huma Abedin, in order to determine whether or not it contains email proof that Hillary unlawfully transmitted classified information?
Yes, that's right, Cadence, at this late hour, and can you imagine a more complicated line of attack? Seizing the laptop of Anthony Weiner, who once shared it with his wife, Huma Abedin, who is the longtime aide of Hillary Clinton. Now, I should point out that currently Huma is separated from her husband, and the whole picture here of Anthony Weiner conjures up a scandal that I'm not going to mention because, frankly, it's irrelevant and it clutters the foreground, keeping us from seeing some pretty basic stuff. This is not about new evidence. I know I said when the FBI makes their move on Hillary, as they did last Friday, they'll talk about new evidence that they've found, but I submit to you, Cadence, this is about the FBI following the same script James Comey was reading last July when he found Hillary not guilty by virtue of an absence of malicious motive.
But what makes you say this is not about new evidence? There may be State Department emails on the Weiner hard drive the FBI has not yet seen.
Let's get back to the basics. The FBI has known since the summer of 2015 Abedin and another Clinton aide, Cheryl Mills, used a private email account for official State Department business between 2009 and 2013 when their boss Hillary Clinton was doing exactly the same thing via email accounts hosted on a server in her own home in New York. James Comey told us last July they had found 8 email chains on Hillary's non-secure server that contained top-secret content. There's always been plenty of evidence that Hillary and her staff disregarded open records laws and mishandled classified content. Maybe the FBI is actually searching for what Comey told us was missing last July, the malicious motive.
So any new evidence of mishandled classified information would just be adding more of the same to a body of evidence already existing, but you don't really believe they are searching for a malicious motive.
Sure, why not? Maybe they'll find it on the 6th floor of the Texas Schoolbook Depository. Of course I don't believe it, Cadence. We cannot extrapolate the logic of Comey's decision last July that Hillary's motive was pure, because it didn't make any sense to begin with. How can motive be relevant to a case in which it is already known Hillary intended to use a non-secure server and did so? We need to shift our thinking here and ask not what is the FBI searching for, but rather what is the strategy behind dangling Hillary on a string low these many months?
Could you please elaborate?
Once again, this is not about the evidence. There's plenty of that already. This is about an arbitrary legal interpretation that was made last July and frankly was implausible, that Hillary is innocent because her motive was not malicious. But that decision, that interpretation has always been subject to the change we are beginning to see now. It's not so much about finding more of the same evidence, but about shifting the legal argument towards finding Hillary guilty.
As I put together the pieces of the puzzle, it sounds like the FBI, when it changes its interpretation and shifts, as you say, the legal argument towards finding Hillary guilty, may still talk about the case as if new evidence had been found.
That's quite possible, Cadence. I mean, how hard is it to dig up actual evidence and call it new? That's what I call manufacturing a minor fact in order to withhold the larger truth. That the driving factor behind the move on FBI Friday was not so much because, well, we found a new email that pertains to the investigation. As true as that may be, that was the pretext. The driving factor here is the script James Comey has followed ever since President Obama made him director of the FBI. And when the Obama administration is ready to make its final move against Hillary, when dangling her in the wind so she can run against Trump has served its purpose, the legal winds will shift and back into a major headwind for Hillary Clinton.
But Mr. Roberts, many Trump supporters, who applaud the FBI director's decision Friday, believe he has found the courage to stand up to the White House, to go, in fact, as they say, off the script.
Sure, Cadence, I sympathize with the idea. But I maintain FBI Friday was part of the script. What happened 1 week ago today? White House spokesman Josh Earnest, who speaks for the president, it's important we understand that, reminded Americans that President Obama had no knowledge whatsoever concerning Hillary's communication setup while she served as his Secretary of State regarding her private, non-secure server. Therefore, Josh Earnest, last Tuesday, distanced the president from Hillary Clinton, and why would he do that? Unless the White House knew what was coming, James Comey's letter to Congress.
Why would the White House distance the president from Hillary, a candidate for whom President Obama campaigns, as he did today in North Carolina?
Because 3 days later, James Comey was going to reopen the investigation that pertains to Secretary Clinton's non-secure communication system.
So you're saying the Obama administration knew that FBI Friday was coming, and this was their chance to remind Americans the president had no knowledge of security lapses Hillary committed while Secretary of State.
It was their chance and they took it. And after all, the president must protect his own legacy while his Department of Justice points the finger of blame at Hillary Clinton.
But Mr. Roberts, what about reports that Loretta Lynch tried to stop James Comey from writing that letter to Congress on Friday?
Well, those reports may be accurate, and by the way, they prove the White House knew what was coming down the pipe. As of yesterday, this week, Lynch is back on script, assuring Americans she has confidence in James Comey. And meanwhile, Josh Earnest, 1 day before, enters stage left, saying very favorable things about the director. Comey would never do anything intentionally to influence the election. He's in a tough spot. James Comey is a man of integrity. And Josh Earnest let us know that in regards to the FBI breathing new life into the email scandal, thereby threatening Hillary Clinton's candidacy, the president is, and I quote, pretty even-keeled about the news. Cadence, if the president is even-keeled about the FBI's move on Hillary, as he is any time he has little to say about domestic or foreign events, even-keeled enough to go back to his golf game or to hot dogs and baseball, it means that everything is going according to the plan, and nothing pertaining to the subject matter at present requires any adjustment to the presidential agenda. And if, as some believe, Comey is now standing up to the president and veering off script, why is Obama's White House and Department of Justice showering Comey with confidence and praise this week?
To summarize the events of the past week, last Tuesday Josh Earnest distances the president from Hillary Clinton. FBI Friday, James Comey reopens the email investigation. This Monday, Josh Earnest praises Comey as a man of integrity and assures us that President Obama is unflagged by the FBI's actions. And this Tuesday, the Attorney General says she still has confidence in FBI Director James Comey.
That's right, Cadence. President Obama, Loretta Lynch, and James Comey are on the same page. And what this means for Hillary Clinton, and in fact for the general election itself, is very interesting.
And we thank Mr. Roberts and Cadence for their commentary. We will be observing a period of radio silence until our next broadcast this Friday, when we return to discuss the general election and the three candidates who appear to be running for president. For Radio Free Canada America, this is Saoirse out.